Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to the Work and Play replay. This is a midday edition. Hey, y'all. So, first of all, thank you for those who are joining us from LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Welcome to the LinkedIn, folks. This is a new stream. And if you see this lovely woman to the left of me, we have Miss Ellen Parker here to have a conversation with us about episode 102 of the Work and Play.
Girl, you made it 102. Clap it
It's
up.
crazy.
We
So
gotta clap it
I
up.
would love for you, before we get into the conversation, our LinkedIn folks are new to the broadcast. So first of all,
Okay.
they may not even know who I am just yet, but they need to know who you are most importantly. So feel free to introduce yourself and we're gonna get into the conversation.
Thank you so much for having me, Arylle. This is so amazing. I had so much fun on the podcast last time, so I can't wait for us to discuss it. But my name is Helene Parker. I am the founder and host of the Programmatic Digest podcast. And I also have my consulting business, which is called Helene Parker Consulting. So if I had to recap it in 30 seconds, basically I offer training, workshops, development program in the programmatic advertising realm, which is just a digital advertising space. So it's all in the digital advertising, digital marketing. So I've been doing this for about 3 years, but been working in the industry for about 10. And after I get to train those entry level juniors, we call them the juniors, I get to place them into their dream jobs with a lot of connection and partnership with companies that I had in the past. But the most important is that I am a super optimistic, open minded type of girl, very much down to earth, very much about seeing the glass halfway full versus halfway empty and flipping the coin to see the positive in everything I do. And I'll end with this. I am a wife. I'm a very, very proud wife and very proud mom of a toddler that you may or may not see bust into this room. But if she comes, she's very, very sweet. We'll still be able to to hopefully do it in the interview.
Yes.
But yeah. So my superpower is my charisma, and my energy, and I think that's something I had to discover in the last year. So again, I'm so excited to be here. Arylle is one of my favorite person ever. And we only met in person one time, but I feel like I
Right.
know you at least 16 years and a half at this point.
Right. We've been on this journey and it's crazy to see like how much growth we've made like in
Mhm.
our different worlds and seeing you grow as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur and seeing me as an entrepreneur. I was just talking about it this morning how important it is to have people who are like accountability buddies, and you have been like an energy accountability buddy, like a support team in the morning. It's like we wake up in the morning and we get to like chat with each other. So like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
literally have been on the journey together, and how many people can
Mhm.
say that? So I'm grateful
That's
for
true.
you.
That's true. That's
Um,
true.
back at you 100%. Before we get into the topic, because
Mhm.
we are going to talk about episode 102 because we
Uh-huh.
have a lot, like from you going from your different corporate jobs, but also recognizing your value,
Yeah.
also your mom and your
Mm.
dad, your experience traveling to the US,
Yeah.
but your business structure. I think folks don't know what programmatic advertising is, so maybe we
Mhm.
can talk a little bit more about that and debunk that.
Yeah.
But most importantly, this is the Work and Play podcast, meaning every single day, the vision that I'm manifesting, every single day that we live is going to feel like work and play at the same time. Maybe
Mhm.
it's 70-30, maybe it's 60-40, maybe it's 50-50.
Mhm.
But what is work and play like? Let's just check in. How about this? It's actually been a minute since we've checked in anyway. So what was the last 7 days like, or last 30 days like as an entrepreneur?
Uh,
What's your week been like?
My week has been really great. So I'm referring to the last 7 days. Since I've gone back from vacation in mid July, I've brought in that vibe, and then I kind of channel it continuously. And so I told myself that in order for me to be productive, I just need to focus on the top three tasks, and that's what I've been doing. So I have not spent 8 12 hour a day, which I was averaging in Q1 and Q2.
Mhm.
um, I've really focused on what are the top three, and if I cannot get to the others, it's because I either need to hire, or I need to delegate better, or I need to prioritize my time for those, urgent, less important, or less important, more important but less urgent type of tasks. So I
Right.
actually checked off a lot on my plate in the last week,
Mhm.
including finishing up. I had to redo the last couple modules of the course that I have. It's called the Reach and Frequency course, and we'll talk about it later. And so I finished up the last module, so I'm really excited about that. Now it's in editing. So that was a big thing, just redoing some of that. Another big thing was like to talk to at least 3 companies a day. So if you're listening right now, you're thinking like, okay, I'm in my 9 to 5, like how can I do this? You just have to try to prioritize yourself. Now I work from home, and my business is just set up that way. But prior to that, I did work from home part time. So every time, every time I would be home, I would try to focus on that $1 million task, right? That's gonna get you to that
Yes.
goal.
One
So I
million dollar
focused.
task.
Yeah, and some people call it the money generating activity.
Mm-hmm.
Other people call it the $1 million activity, $1 million task. Whatever feels good deep down, whatever inspires you to continue doing, whatever you need to do to set up to that life. It's a sacrifice you're taking now, but it's not even a sacrifice, it's an investment that you're doing in yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I've been doing. So the last 7 days has been a lot of like, okay, Ellen, I feel like I haven't done a lot of stuff. However, I have. And so
Mm-hmm.
practicing gratitude, making sure I review my day every night with God and with myself. I review my day in the morning. I stay as I prioritize as much as possible. And I think I heard it on your podcast. You were talking to one of your guests when you said something about scheduling your fun. So I've been doing that,
Yes.
making sure that I schedule time for myself, for my daughter, for my husband. And I'm actually visiting my mom this week. So it's about 3 hours away. So that's why, if the Wi-Fi ain't in it,
Right, we're gonna roll with it. Mama's Wi-Fi.
roll with
Somebody on Instagram before earlier, Ja actually said, "Listen, Mama got to get that business plan." But that's another shift that we make when we go from employee, like working from home,
yeah,
to like have being able to travel and be
yeah,
that digital nomad, especially if that's the life
exactly.
that we want, right?
Yeah, girl, yes. And my husband have told me several times to invest in those what is it? Those hotspot
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
not use my phone. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, maybe, we'll put it, we'll do it later. We'll do it later. But child, I should listen to this man. He's
You
like,
know
just
what?
invest in a
What is a
good
part of
one.
this? Say that again.
He said, just invest in a good one, get a plan for it. And I was like, yeah, it's okay. I work mostly at home, but now I'm going to put myself out a little bit more and work from coffee shops and get re-inspired and get to connect. And I think I'm going to make that investment now, especially after today.
Let's talk about that because here's the thing. I
Yeah.
was looking at a post,
Mm-hmm.
and it was about it was an image about the
Mm-hmm.
different exits that a entrepreneur has to make in business, and
Mm-hmm.
the diagram went from frontline all the way to like removing yourself from the business altogether,
Mm-hmm.
right? So going
Mm-hmm.
from frontline to like
Yeah.
being the staff of the employee, like all of the different departments,
Mm-hmm.
and then like investing in staff, taking yourself out of the seat, becoming an org chart. Anyway, you're describing the transition in mindset that
Mm-hmm.
an employee has to go through to
Mm-hmm.
transition into like entrepreneurial mindset, right?
Yeah.
And on the podcast, you mentioned, how Myron Golden, for example, has been one of those people who helped you see like flip the coin,
Yeah.
right? There's
You
two
gotta flip the
sides to
coin.
every coin. Walk us through like your journey of like that word, invest. How
Mm-hmm.
has that word come to have a different meaning for you time after time? Because I know for me, the word like cost was huge in my vocabulary. And
Mm-hmm.
then invest became a thing. And then it's like, okay, so what do you invest in?
Mm-hmm.
But you just mentioned investing in the MiFi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the Wi-Fi, the
Yeah.
hotspot.
Yeah.
How has your mindset around investing shifted over time?
I think that's a great question because even as you're asking it, I'm like, dang, that's really deep. But the first thing that comes to mind is that we're taught that investment is only done by people that are well off, or that you need to invest all of X amount of dollars. But it's investment is usually referred to related to money, and investment with your money is important because you got to put your money to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing is that as you're shifting your mindset to saying the positive thing and to practicing gratitude, I think that's really important. Practice gratitude and peace on a daily, hourly basis. You're going to start using the word investing in a way that, oh, well, right now I'm reading this book. It's taking a lot of time. I could be building my own website. I could be, reaching out to another recruiter or doing this and that. But you got to see the word investing like, oh, I'm bugging their name right now, but he came on and explained the difference between hunting, being a hunter, or being a farmer. Like investing is being a farmer. Like you got to farm so that you can feed yourself and your family without even working. So you're working, you're putting all the work and effort at the beginning, all the energy, all that investment in time, effort, and energy at the beginning, and then you reap your results later on. So that's how you have to look at investment. And sometimes we are using the word sacrifice, and yeah, it could be seen, it could be portrayed positively, but ideally, if you just shift it, like I challenge you, instead of saying like it's a sacrifice I got to do now, it makes it feels like a burden. Even if it is a burden, if you say it's the investment I have to do right now in myself in order to get this result. It's the investment I have to just focus on right now. It's the investment I got to do on myself, on this computer, on taking this time so that I can get where I need to get, because I have a vision and God put this vision for a reason. So I got to go for it. So that's how you want to really understand. And entrepreneurship is self-discovery, period. I don't care
Yes.
what people come to say. If somebody tells you it's all about the money, that's why I went entrepreneurship. It could have been maybe the first, it could have been that biggest why in the moment. But as you're getting to a certain stage, like you said, Arylle, as you're getting to phases in this journey, you realize like, oh shucks, it ain't it. It ain't it. I don't even know who it's not
Every
this.
single time. And the most frustrating part is when you feel like, oh, I know who I am. I got
Yeah.
it. I got it all figured out. You get really excited. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, God. I
No,
thought.
it's not. It's not. And then there's going to be people that's going to come to you and say, well, nobody else did this. Like you can't hear nobody else like doing this. Oh, well, maybe there's reason why nobody's doing this. Is it hard? Is it just not realistic to do this? Is it just like this is just a barrier? And then you'll start doubting yourself because you've heard things. And so that's why expressing gratitude and discovering who you really are and what you can bring is really important. And the most underrated skill set nowadays is confidence. You got to keep that confidence 1000%. And there's going to be ups and downs. That's normal. That's okay. I validate that feeling every day. But being confident in your decision, being confident that I don't know, I don't know about this, but right now it feels really peaceful deep down in my heart to say it out loud. And it makes me smile when I finish talking about this project or this task or this idea of this business. So I'm going to go for it. Because if it's making me feel this way at the ideation, can you imagine if you're starting to do it? It's going to be hard. You're going to be sweating, but there's going to be a time where you're going to sit down right here in your mama's closet and be like, yo, this is great. I don't regret anything. I'm gonna share the picture. I asked her to take a picture of my setup. I have boxes of shoes. I had the chairs right here.
You got mama on the content creation game.
Listen, I have the suitcases over here. You're gonna see a bunch of diapers bag over here, and then listen, I'm gonna post this, and I'm gonna be
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I want, and you guys, even on LinkedIn, you guys got to see it. You got to see the journey, because here's the thing: we talk about things in a very packaged way, but I really am understanding the value of sharing what the behind the scenes look like for folks who are so buttoned up and in their corporate jobs and don't necessarily know what they're looking for. It's like even on a bad day, like you said. In your mom's closet with the shoe boxes and everything. That's the dream. You know what I'm saying? That's the dream on the way to the dream. And so I'm glad you break it down in a way that really is helpful. So the next thing that I'm curious about is for folks who are listening. You broke down the mindset part of shifting into this work and play lifestyle, right? But then you are a programmatic expert, right? Programmatic advertising expert. And one of the things that I focus on in my coaching is like the easiest way, low-hanging fruit to transition from 9 to 5 in entrepreneurship is what you're currently doing right now. Somebody is paying you $70,000, $80,000 to do one thing. That's your one client. So now use that skill set to transition into entrepreneurship, and you specialize. You learn to specialize in this journey. So for you, what was it like to go from I'm an employee with the responsibilities that you had that we shared on the podcast to now specializing in programmatic advertising and marketing?
Gotcha. So I spent about 10 years in the industry, but I was a campaign manager. So you can call them campaign manager. The title that you will find is programmatic media trader, trader, or programmatic buyer. And simply, programmatic advertising is the ability to place an online ad in the internet. Okay, it's like everywhere outside of social media. So I'll take a quick example of Facebook. In order, if you familiar with Facebook ads, you log into Facebook ad manager, and if you're not familiar, just know that Facebook as a social media allows you to place ads within their inventory, what we call whichever is available. That's why when you log into your feed, you see an ad here that is different to your right side, and we call it the right side ad, that is different to Instagram, and it's different format and shape. And so Facebook, you can only buy Facebook inventory, Facebook ad space through Facebook. Programmatic advertising allows you to buy everywhere outside of social media.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so you're reading the Huffington Post or the Washington Post, or rather, and then you see an ad, and then you go into your newsletter. You go into your email, you're opening a newsletter, and then you see ads and newsletters all dynamic. Or you are logging to a software that you're using at work, and then you see at the bottom sometimes they allowed ads. All of those spaces are bought programmatically. Here's the last example I'll say before I answer the question, Arylle, is that programmatic advertising is the one that allows you to place dynamic ads, messaging, creative, commercial, on things like Hulu, or when you log into your PlayStation, or now we know that Netflix is going to start offering ads. So Hulu, Prime, YouTube TV, all of those spaces are programmatically bought. So it's a really cool space to be in. It's digital advertising, it's digital marketing. So it's one of those fields that are not going to die anytime soon. It's actually replacing other fields. It's also one of those things that are very influenced by technology. That's what we call it, the advertising technology field, or ad tech. So there is a lot of opportunities to grow in this industry. So I got my first job as a programmatic trader, a campaign manager, setting up, managing ad campaigns for big brands, and then just learn the technology that was given to me. And over the years, there's several more technology that you will be asked to or trained to use. And so that's what I did. And 4 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago, I decided 2019 was the last year I was going to work for anyone, because I was just exhausted and drained to be the only Black girl for an agency. Or we could count each other on one hand in terms of being from a diverse background, or I think that the politically correct term is a non-marginalized group, part of a marginalized group, excuse me. So that was really exhausting, being able, being code switching all your career. It's draining on yourself and your identity. That's why I'm so big on remaining authentic and learning how to.
And it sounds like also learning a bunch of different technologies in order to do all these various different things. Maybe just was spreading you too thin as well.
Yeah, and also, but it's also one of those things, like when you work for any job, you'll use one software. Let's say you're using Google Suites, right? And then your next job is only using Microsoft Suite. So now you have to learn Microsoft Suite again. And then Microsoft Suite is coming up with a new tool or updating the other. So you still know how to use those tools, but then there's little knickknacks that you have to learn again. So it's the same thing with those technology, and they're called demand side platform. It's DSP for short. So I started, to answer your question, I started freelancing and telling people that I knew in my network, because I've always built that network as I grew in my career. I continue, connecting on LinkedIn, calling people, just saying hi here and there. And I started running campaigns for clients. And I want to say right after Jade is 2. So 2020 is when I realized this is actually really taking a lot of my energy out. And I was still charging hourly. That's when I joined the morning meetup, and I realized that I don't want to no longer pull 70 hours to make a really good living. And so that's when I started shifting my mindset to consulting.
Is that Jade?
She's out of control. That's when I started shifting my mindset to consulting. And then in the last year, so 2021 to 2022, I discovered that my zone of genius was just people talking. Like, this makes my heart so happy, just talking about what I know and learning from you and learning from others. So that's what I said. Like, I'm really good at campaign management, programmatic activation. That's the term in the industry. And I really want to teach people. So why don't I do this? And so that's how I've been kind of shifting my business in the last year to training workshops. And in the last 3 months, I've been blessed to even place some of the people I train into other opportunities that they wanted. And so now I'm like, well, it would be really great if I can train entry level people, which is what I want to do, like train more people to get into the industry, but train more people that look and sound like you and I, or similarly, to get into this industry, because I believe that diversity, equity, inclusion, and representation should be something we do on the regular. And helping them get into their career, and really advising them as I'm placing them, or as I'm offering options to them, that working for an agency has pros and cons, okay? But as entry level, working for an agency is actually going to help you really well for the rest of your career. After a few years, you might want to focus on the brand, which is less stressful, but at the same time, actually, I shouldn't say that, because all work brings some level of stress. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what we're here on this earth
Yeah,
for. But
I'm be
before
real.
you found
It's gonna be
your
stressful.
niche,
So
it sounds like you found your niche in training.
yeah,
And so, like, all this time that I've known you, I'm used to you speaking the technical terms, but you are now teaching others to know what you know.
yeah.
What was it like for you? Did you have a clear idea
Mm-hmm.
the first year in
Yeah.
entrepreneurship of how you were going to package your skills from your
Heck
corporate job?
no. Mm-mm.
Tell me about that.
No, 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 no. I thought I was gonna open an agency, right? I know I wanted to be global, so I wanted to have global clients where I would speak French with them, because my first language is French, but also I wanted to tap into the Spanish market and hire Spanish agent that works with me. But no, I thought I was gonna just freelance and contract forever, because I was like, on the project, with 6 month worth of this project, I could take 3 month off and take care of my family, or that's what I thought I was.
So
And
what
then
did you get
God's
that
was
wake
like,
up call? What did you get that wake up call that was like, oh no, 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 no. I've been doing this wrong.
I think it's several things, but I realized that I put myself in certain environments where other people were educating, right? And like I said, the morning meetup really helped with that mindset shift. And then I joined We Should All Be Millionaire by Rachel Rogers, which is a also a club focused on women and marginalized group that wants to just take their business to 7 figures seriously. And her average has been teaching other women, again, to do it within 3 to 4 years of their the first years of their business, because she's done it, so she's teaching how she's doing it. And so putting yourself and following those influencers that you can relate to, that has there I don't know, there's energy that matches, like you and I. Like, from the first day I heard you, I was like, yo, she's dope, she's gonna blow up real quick. Let me tap in and be a friend right now, because she's about to make it tomorrow. Okay.
Listen, listen.
Because
That's
I
and
want
that's
to
your
learn from
mindset.
this
Yeah.
woman. Okay. I'm going to keep learning from this woman, regardless of what's happening. So that's what you have to tell yourself. Like, so even if you're still at your job, you're listening to this, or you're just starting, like Arylle is right. I'm not the same woman I was a year ago. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that woman died a year and a half ago. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, when I had my daughter, there's a lot of things that shifted in my, like, just being, I don't know, as a woman, if you had a child, you can relate to the fact that you just say there's a whole thing that you have to take care of, and you're losing your identity. I lost my identity,
Yeah.
but I love this baby so much. And with women around me supporting me, and most importantly, with my husband supporting me to rediscover myself, that's when I was like, dang, I actually, that person, it died. I'm never going to be that person. But this new person I am now, whoo, is gonna make all the previous identities so jelly. Okay? They wish they wish otherwise. And tomorrow's identity, tomorrow's growth is gonna make today's even more jealous. So I think remaining flexible is so important, but at the same time, again, learn yourself first, because everything else, like, I don't know, Ariel, if you can relate, but there's time when I'm reading a book and I'm like, dang, this is so powerful, and I'll start just studying this part of the book, right?
Mhm.
Just studying, just looking up other commentary, looking up the author, what it says, just understanding it, trying to explain my own words, right? And then there's ideas that start popping up like crazy, and I'll try to do one, and it'll be a it'll result into something magical for me, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. But
Yeah.
I was in that moment, I was on the journey to understanding why I was feeling this way. Or right now, I'm learning meditation. And I've honestly been in the same book for 2, 3 months because I keep rereading the same thing because something is not clicking. And so
Mm.
now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start meditating. I got to a part where he's teaching how to start meditating, and I've been doing that. And it's like
Mm.
super great. Like just sitting in quiet is like, wow, I understand why people be meditating.
It's a whole game changer. I promise you. I tell people this all the time. Some people say like I have a
Yeah.
calming spirit.
Mhm.
Like a yogi. These things like, and I say, child, people who are yogis. This is one thing I know about yogis and
Uh-huh.
like if you know like even a Sadhguru. Like there's some
Uh-huh.
people who are Sadhguru. Okay, so
Hmm.
we have a spirit of like and that means you and I know you know this because you were on the podcast. We've seen each other that was it that one time, but your energy is so similar to mine. People
Yeah.
who are yogis and like calm spirits, they know what it's like to be all over the place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when it
Yeah.
comes to people who tell me like, oh, I can't meditate because my mind is all over the place, it's like, listen, I've been there. It's a journey.
It
So
still
like,
is. It still
girl,
is
it's
to
a
me
constant.
hard,
Like
but yeah,
and it's almost like after you learn how to do the exercise, and I say exercise, I liken meditation to exercise.
of
But after
course.
you learn how to do it, you then have to learn how to work on different muscle because whatever worked the bicep is not going to work the tricep. So it's going to be harder all over again. It's like meditation; you get to work different parts of your body. But
Mm-hmm.
you broke down the mindset development of an entrepreneur, a new entrepreneur. You've broken down like your skill set, the technical skill set of going from having an idea that you were going to have a B2B agency to realizing, yo, my sweet spot is training individuals on how to go into the agencies. And now
That's
we're talking spirituality. We literally are hitting all the buckets here in this conversation. So the last thing I want to ask you, because
yeah.
now that I realize you're
Mm-hmm.
similar to me in the space of like career development, people development, which is a lot different than like the technical programmatic piece that we think
Mm-hmm.
it's like you have all that information, but now you want to channel it.
Mm-hmm.
For
Yeah.
someone, whether they are on their career journey going up the corporate ladder, going
Uh-huh.
into an organization, or leaving out of an organization,
Okay.
you have all those experiences.
Yeah.
What would you say is that one thing that they need to know before they start their journey of transition?
Transitions between to entrepreneurship.
Whether they want to go from never had a job at an agency before to having their first job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or whether they want to transition from a specialized role into entrepreneurship, or if they
Mm-hmm.
just want to become a better person, going from not a mom to a mom. But we can focus in on this career journey,
Yeah.
recognizing that there are so many through lines, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, whether you want to be an employee, that just are they're universal. You know
Mm-hmm.
how Myron talks about universal principles,
Yeah.
right? Like, what would you say is a
That's a good question.
universal? What was that?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say the one skill set that I had between all of this transition was confidence and understanding that wherever I was going, whenever I went into the unknown, I had the grit to find the known, if it makes sense. Like I
Mm.
had the confidence and the courage to say, I don't know shit about this, but I'm gonna find out because this was going to be the last time anybody walk up to me and say, you're not qualified for this. You shouldn't be in this room because you don't know this. Mm-mm. There's going to be a lot of people coming to you saying, you're not qualified. But what is that qualification exactly? How are you more qualified than me? And how can I
Mm.
get there? Now, if you don't want to teach me how to get there, no problem, because you're going to be able to find somebody, something, somewhere that's going to teach you how to get there. So the biggest thing, I think the similarity is grit, like courage and confidence to do something that feels so uncomfortable. I'll be really quick. I interviewed two bomb ladies on my podcast from the Women in Programmatic Network, which is another club I'm part of. And Maya Venkatesh, she said she was reading a study, or at her company, they did a study of women and men applying to jobs. Okay. It's not even entrepreneurship yet. It's just you're applying to jobs. And women are less likely to apply to the job unless they check off almost everything.
All the boxes.
Almost everything. Versus a men, they check off, I think it was 20%, and they apply to it. So that's 3 out of the 10 things maybe that's required, or 2 out of the 10 things that's required, and they're applying. And I joke them that I remember checking off -7 and still applying to jobs. I didn't get all of them, but my reason for doing this is because, oh, this job was exciting, right? Even though I did not know what it was, because I had never done it at that time. But it was exciting, and I was like, this is going to be cool to work in this. This is going to be cool to work in this. So I'm going to learn all these skill sets here on YouTube University, or somebody on LinkedIn is going to talk about it. I'm going to learn from them. And and then by the time I get hired or interviewed, I'll have some knowledge to talk about. And even when I'm placing those juniors, people are like, the recruiters are like, how many years, how many gold medal? And I'm like, listen, sis, they don't have no gold medal. They've never been on the moon, but I can guarantee they have developed those 4 skill sets with me. And before developing those 4 skill sets, they've came with those 3 soft skill set that they learned when they were baristas at Starbucks, or when they were instructors, or because, like, I have a student right now, she used to be an instructor, and she's so amazing. She has the grit to learn. She's asking all the right questions, which sets her up for later, because you're going to have to keep asking those questions. And then she wants to learn, which shows her determination. And really, she's motivated. She's very much motivated to get to a certain level. And that's going to take her far in the programmatic industry and any other industry, in my opinion. So really, really understand that it's not, if you qualify, if you checking all 10 boxes, you're overqualified for the damn job. Don't apply to that. If you're qualified for half of it or less than half, go ahead and apply, because that job needs to teach you something as much as you're pouring into them. Okay. And those new skill set is going to be what they're going to teach you. So just be mindful when it comes to those transition. Just make sure that you have the courage and the confidence to stand up for yourself, to ask the right question, but also, like, understand that if it feels uncomfortable, you're probably in the right place.
Oh, come on with it.
I'm not saying, not toxicity or something like that. If it feels uncomfortable because you're like, dang, I don't know if I know this stuff, you're in the right place. Push yourself to go learn. This is the world we live in. The digital world is just it, Arylle. I mean, what do you think?
Well, actually, we have a question in the chat, and I love when we get questions. So we have a question coming in from YouTube, and I'm excited to get to it. But first of all, before we get into question and answer, I want to ask about your course, what you're offering, and how can folks find you, and then we'll get into question and answer.
Yay! Thank you for asking. So my course is called the Reach and Frequency .live, LIVE, and it teaches anybody with that has no marketing experience or no digital advertising experience how to get into the programmatic advertising and the soft and technical skill set they will need to literally apply to that job, get interviewed, and get hired. I literally teach them in, actually, I calculated the amount of hours, 12 hours, 16 hours or less, how to become a programmatic trader, which is the number one, the most on-demand job right now in 2022. People to help manage, report, optimize, strategize the campaign. So I'm happy to offer anyone listening a special discount because I love y'all. And then in September, because we're recording this in August, in September, I'm doing a live webinar where I explain what it is. But if you join in September, you'll be able to add live exclusive training with me. So you won't just take the class right on your own because it's on demand, but you'll be able to have consulting from me, training from me, and then you'll be able to be placed into a program where I place you as well. So pretty excited about that.
That's amazing. Listen, I'm super excited for this transition for that you've made.
Yeah.
To go from a
Thank
subject
you.
matter expert to
Thank you.
training those who will become subject matter experts is
Mhm.
amazing. It's an amazing feat. And so to be able to help other people do what you do is awesome. So I want to go
Thank
to this last question
Okay.
from YouTube. The real Erica. Erica says, what do you do
Mhm.
when you apply? Let's see. What do you do when you apply? And is there pushback with training? And it says, so wait, let me see. I'm looking to shift out of the classroom.
Uh-huh.
Can you see can you see the comments? I love the fact that this is like the first time I've ever
Hold on,
gotten
let
to
me
see it. It's on
let
the
me
right side. So
Oh, there it is. Okay. Um, what do you do when you apply and there is pushback with training? In other words, I'm looking to shift out of the classroom. I've made degrees and skills and I apply for stuff that I'm not qualified for, but I can do. All right. So when you're applying and then the person, are they, if Erica, if you're still here, just let us know. But are you asking if you have all the soft skills and you've learned the technical skills, but have no of application experience, and so therefore they're pushing back the fact that you've never tried the skills that you learned?
I think that's exactly what she means because she's saying the pushback seems to be lack of willingness to train. So she might have the soft skills,
Oh
but
yeah.
she might not have the technical skills.
Oh, for sure. That's why I do what I do in the programmatic advertising space. For instance, when they join my program and I help them be placed. So maybe it's a little different on your side, but going back to what I do, when I place them, I save the company up to 2 months of onboarding time, meaning they won't have to train them from scratch. So there are always level of training for every company. If the company is pushing back saying they don't want to train you, run far away. Guess what? If they don't want to train you when they're onboarding you, they're not going to keep training you. There's probably not a clear path for growth at that level. Now, it might be a very sexy opportunity right now, but what did they say? God's delay or rejection is just his protection or something like that. Like God is protecting you and from this right now because
Mhm.
it's probably going to be something worse later, if I'm honest.
Mm.
So look for continue applying to jobs that you check off 5 out of 2 out of the 10, whatever, because again, that job is supposed to teach you something new as much as you provide the support of something else. Okay. So my biggest thing if I was in your field would be, if you are interested in digital marketing, reach out to me. Even if it's not programmatic, I have a lot of contact. I'm happy to help you. But maybe this is your moment to reach out to a recruiter and say, listen, I've been on the market to do this and I want to learn this, and it's up to the recruiter. And interview the recruiter, interview people in your industry to see what did they do to get to where they are. And I'll end with this: network's underrated. All of my jobs, I found all of my business has been through my networking or a referral from the network I've built.
Mhm.
Leverage LinkedIn. Matter of fact, if you go on my YouTube, I have it's like a 5 minute video. I call it the FEEL framework, FEEL framework. And it's find your dream job or you find your dream job, find the company, okay, engage, connect with them, engage with the company or engage with the people working in the company, and then really leverage that engagement. So, meaning like find a company, let's say Google, follow people that work at Google that have similar jobs that you want to have, connect with them on LinkedIn, compliment them. People like that shit. If you go to say, look, you look like a badass, I'm trying to learn from other badass and get to know you better and get to know this industry. I am in training, I'm entry level. People love to help. They'll help you. And once you connect with them on LinkedIn, engage on a daily basis. Be consistent. Don't have to be on a daily basis, but if you're dedicated and you need this, it's going to be on a daily basis naturally. Engage with them, really encourage them online because everybody needs a little bit of encouragement. Ask question, read about things that they're doing, right? So Google just announced something about Google Analytics, or Google just announced something in privacy. Learn what's the problem, and once
Mhm.
you learn it, teach somebody else. That means explain in your own words how what you understood and post about it on LinkedIn. and tag Google, tag another company, tag Microsoft. I'm using those two companies, but they don't pay me, unfortunately. So this is not sponsored by either. But that's the way you want to go. Find the company, engage with the employee, find the hiring manager, the talent person. Now they have talent acquisition, people person, HR, whatever. Find somebody that is in the position that you want to do. Connect with them. Almost, I'm not gonna use the word spy, but just look.
I call it sophisticating trolling. It's
Okay,
sophisticated
sophisticate your
trolling.
trolling. Troll
Mhm.
them in the positive way. Leave comments so you get noticed, and then on your own LinkedIn profile, continue to post things you're learning. What I do in my courses, that I encourage every student's part of their homework, is that one of those lessons it has been inspired by research I've done from another article from another company. Scan it, read the whole article that I quoted, okay, and then post about what you learned from what you read on LinkedIn, and make sure you tag those company and you tag me so I can encourage you and leave some comments, to give you some more visibility. But
I
do
love
that.
it.
I guarantee you, do that in less than 3 weeks. You'll find somebody to hire you. Somebody will hire you. Why? Because they're gonna go back on your LinkedIn profile. They're gonna see like, oh, she has all of those. She really has all of those certification, but almost no experience. But the history of the last 30 days shows that she knows what programmatic advertising is. She knows what Trade Desk is doing. She knows what Google is announcing. She actually posted her own opinion, and she had comments and stuff like this. And it's not about getting the likes of the comments. It's about developing that consistency and showing the recruiter or the hiring manager that you're learning on your own, whether they're ready to train you or not. Okay.
Yes.
So dedication and consistency is sexy for a company. So do that. You're gonna get it. Just keep faith. Again, you're farming. When you're networking, you're farming, you're not hunting. And it's gonna pay back. I promise you. And you can, my information is in the show notes. So I promise you can reach out to me. And again, if it's not in the same field, we probably know somebody that knows somebody. And Arylle is such a great resource. Reach out to Arylle. Hire Arylle as a coach. I'm probably just repeating all the gems she's already shared on her podcast
Listen,
several
you have literally just robbed the bank, Erica. The real Erica just robbed the bank, because that was
times.
spot on industry response on what you
Yeah,
actually need to do to get the
great
job in
question.
there. And what I
Great
love
question.
about your shift, Ellen, is
Mm.
that you're shifting to help people go into corporate. I had already decided that I'm like, listen, in order for me to do my best work,
Yeah,
we gonna focus on the exit and you
it's a
being
good
your best
exit.
self. So, Erica, reach out to Helene, because she just
Yeah.
gave you spot on advice on the consistency and how you can mitigate that insecurity that you're not qualified.
And
So,
Ariel,
Helene,
can I just add real quick? I'm sorry to cut you off. Like Erica, the fact that you asked this question shows that you're already successful and you're already the perfect candidate for your next company. And I'll say this secondly, the fact that you're here, Erica, shows how dedicated and successful you already are. Okay. But because like you're putting yourself in the right room, which is now learning how to get into like how to tap into things. Okay, so just by you being here, I would hire you in a heartbeat. If I was hiring, don't put your hopes up. I'm sorry, but I would hire you in a heartbeat, because like you're already trying to get a place further that you don't even see yet. You don't even understand, but you're already doing today's work for tomorrow's success. So you are successful. You are dedicated, you are motivated, and those three skill set is $1 million gem for anyone. Okay, so like know that, understand that, like tonight when you do your gratitude, because I know you're going to do it tonight because Oprah told us to do it. Be grateful that you were on this live and you learned something new, and you're going to share it with somebody else tomorrow. You're going to inspire somebody tomorrow, because like you're the bomb. You're here. You're great.
yes, yes. All right, y'all. You have your marching orders. Yes, the contact information will be in the show notes. However, Ellen, last time, please let us know how we can find you, where you're the most likely to respond immediately or quickest. And we're going to get up out of here.
All right. So my website is Helene Parker, Helene Parker.com, or on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very responsive on Instagram. And also, Aria, I know you're trying to get out of here, but I want to thank you for doing this again, because you're amazing. Not a lot of people have the confidence, the grit that you have to come up here and say it's time for you to exit your corporate job, because you have a bigger light to shine and it needs to be heard. So thank you for inspiring people every single day. Even me, every single day, with like just by like even watching you do your yoga, I'm like, oh, let's go. I gotta move my body today. Let's go. 30 minutes at least. I swear. So if nobody told you today, thank you for being you and doing what you do. Because I know that sometimes we wake up every morning and it's tough, but know that your heart is touching another heart. So thank you so much for being your girl. We love you. We love you out here. I love you.
I love
Appreciate
you
you.
back, and I
Okay.
love all you guys. Listen, y'all give me so much energy. This is amazing. I'm coming off of the Invest Fest energy, so this just brought me all the way back up.
Yes.
I got the
Great.
rest of the day to get some work done now. So those of y'all who are tuning in from YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, I always do that. Y'all,
Yeah.
thank y'all so much for being here. Ellen, thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you.
as well. Y'all, the real Erica, you know what to do. Until next time, we'll see you next week. Peace out.
Bye.